Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Spellbinder's weekly newsletter reading by G. Edward Griffin, who compiles this weekly and updates it throughout the week with his news scouts. Here it says, from the reality zone in the Unfiltered News. And this week, this is what we got for April 7th through the 13th of 2012. The comic strip for this week is your food genetically modified. What's in this stuff? This bill says we don't have to tell you. Fast track bill. Yeah, they're going to give you frankenfoods and you won't even know you're eating them. Clone meat. They're saying you're probably already eating it. They don't keep tracks on the clone meat. So you're probably eating clone meat when you buy a steak or whatever. You get clone pig, whatever. All horrible. Telling you. Okay, now the headlines for this week that you may have missed. This is something to keep. Star 49 former NASA Never a Straight Answer scientists and astronauts sent a letter to Never a Straight Answer headquarters criticizing the agency for support of the man-made global warming theory, saying that it is based on faulty science. And it is. We got a big ball out there. It's called the sun. I tell you this weekly every time I see these articles. And it's right now, it's doing all types of stuff to the weather. We had the warmest March records across the country in the United States. I mean, just because the sun's active. And it won't deact until after 2013, so... And then after that, we're probably going to an ice age. So much for global warming. Business Insider, April 11th. Former CEO of America's largest producer of nuclear power says that nuclear power is not economical unless it is subsidized by the government because they want technological support for nuclear weapons. Without subsidies, nuclear power could not compete with the other forms of energy. Huh, really? So why don't we use the other forms of energy that are cheaper? Don't need subsidies. Oh, that's right. Somebody's got to make up money in their pocket. Washington Blog, April 11th. Australia's new global warming tax. Yeah, they got themselves a global warming tax. You know, rip off of the people saying breathing's against the law unless you pay them. Called the carbon tax. This is a breathing tax, really. That's what it is. They're taxing the air you breathe. It's about to be launched. Really. So people in Australia are just going to lay down, roll over, and belly up to them? It will crush the economy. Utility companies won't disclose how much gas and electric bills will increase in order to pay the tax. When this all finally comes together, it will be interesting to see what Australians will do to challenge the global warming myth and the New World Order elites who are perpetuating it. Activist post April 11th. It's true. They're going to do this one way or the other to take money out of your pocket and put it in theirs. It's one of those real or imaginary emergency type things, you know. This is the imaginary thing that they're using. Video, U.S. Gallup poll. Chairman says unemployment is over 20%. Maybe even as high as 25%. Not 8.5 as claimed by the government. He says unemployment will be more important to Americans than foreign policy in the upcoming election, which will not be favorable for Obama. Yeah, he knows he's on his way out. I keep saying people on comments on articles. I'm saying, well, the only way he can stay in there is to do an FDR and declare World War III, or he can have a race riot from Florida that split across the country, and which would be a martial law emergency, and then he can stay in as long as the emergency exists. He's got his options. He can actually stay in office as a dictator if he wishes to. This is Russian television, April 11. But that's what I see coming down the pike with him if he wants to stay in. Otherwise, they're going to put Mittens, which is Obama Light, into place, and they'll go from there. Argentinian farmers sue Monsanto, and they should. and tobacco companies for exposing them to toxic herbicides and pesticides that produce birth defects in their children. They were assured by Monsanto and the tobacco companies that these products were safe. Sure, yeah, they'll tell you anything to make you get out there and do the job. Natural Society, April 11th. Even if it's a lie. U.S. Demopolis, Alabama, a grandmother is jailed and tortured for buying Sudafed over the counter. This type of decongestant can be used to make crystal meth. So police assume she was a drug manufacturer. That's why a grandmother. They even forced her to make a false confession under the threat of taking away her grandchildren. Yes, read this and weep for America. Freedom in our time, April 11th. My God, they can get away with doing that. Just to harass somebody. It's unbelievable. Makes me mad. Just to see something like that makes me sad for America. Oregon, Portland State University introduces a course to teach revolutionary Marxism, with an emphasis on practical applications in local politics. Students are expected to apply what they learn to the Occupy Wall Street movement. Communism is far from dead, especially in America, also known as collectivism. Yes, they're collectivist. They like to collect everyone together and take all your money and put in their pocket, and then they give you allowances out of it. Communism, collectivism, same thing. Blaze, April 11th. Video. U.S. government uses the excuse of state secrets or national security to gag whistleblowers and punishes them when they reveal wrongdoings within the government. Author attorney shows that this is a violation of the First Amendment that was designed to protect whistleblowers. That's right. You should be able to tell when someone's doing something wrong. How come it suddenly became somebody does something wrong, you try to hide it, cover it up, and keep it out of sight? They should take their medicine. RT, April 11th. Iraq. The U.S. justified its invasion of Iraq because supposedly it had weapons of mass destruction. Yeah, right. That belief was based on the testimony of one man who claimed to have first-hand knowledge. Now, that man admits on German TV that he made up the story because he was a political enemy of Hassan and wanted to motivate the U.S. to oust him. Do you see that? This man is known as the curveball in intelligence circles because even at the time of providing the false story, he already had a reputation of being an unreliable source. In spite of that, the Bush administration chose to use his story as the basis for invasion because it was the best excuse it had for doing what it planned to do anyway. Guardian posted April 10th. Gee, the truth comes out, doesn't it, after a few years? Man, hope you people are awake. They're doing all types of stuff right now that you're not going to know for a few years. That you knew now, you would stand up and want to tar and feather these people. U.S. Ron Paul wins all delegates at the Do-Over Caucus in St. Charles County, Missouri. This is the caucus where previously GOP officials violated their own rules, and meeting ended in chaos, including the arrest of 2 Ron Paul supporters. One of those arrested became the chairman of the Do-Over Caucus. Over 900 Paul supporters attended the unprecedented turnout. STL today, St. Louis today, that's it, April 10th. That's right, they've been ripping him off all the time. Everyone knows he is the candidate to beat Obama. No, just down. I mean, hands down. I mean, all he has to do is start talking what he's been talking for 30 years, and people will go, this man needs to be president. And Obama will be ousted if given the chance by Ron Paul. Everyone thinks Mittens is going to do that. Mittens is this, that. He's got mittens on. Obama's got these boxing gloves of lead weights in them. You think he's going to be able to beat up on Obama? Sure, and all he can cover is 4 years back of Obama. Just back 4 years. Because everything after that's been locked away under $2 million. And all Obama's past is locked up. But not Romney's pass is wide open as far back as he's born. So who you think is going to get the upper hand beating on somebody? It's going to be Obama, because Mittens can only talk about 4 years. Obama can go back however the age of Mittens is. That's how bad this is. Let's see. California embraces Agenda 21 by declaring war on suburbs and single-family homes. That's right, you're not allowed to have a single-family home anymore. It makes a carbon footprint. You must pay us. Anyways, some metropolitan plans call for a minimum of 30 dwellings per acre. The result will be higher population densities, greater traffic, and higher prices. Did we mention the health and crime hazard? Infowars, April 10th. Now, do you know that they want to rewild everywhere out in the suburbans and in the countryside? And they want you all in the city to be like sardines in a can? Yes, this is part of Agenda 21. And they're trying to give it to us if we want it or not. Anyways, officials from the city of Roswell, Georgia, harassed a landowner to death. Yes, they did. Apparently because he stood against them in defense of his right to legally raise chickens, which he was already annexed and already given permission of a grandfather's clause to be allowed to grow chickens on his property like his neighbors around him. I don't know why they chose him. There's others they could have jumped on. Apparently, they must have paid him off. They also wanted his land for a future green area. Oh, yeah. He had a big chunk of nice land. He kept it nice old overgrowth and everything, and they were going to take it away from him. Well, they ended up anyways. This is a case study of how even small city governments evolve into crime syndicates, and they did. Natural News, April 10th. This is just wrong. What happened to him was just wrong. Another article of interest to keep. Dental x-rays, even though radiation dosages are lower than previously, dramatically increase brain cancer risk. Yes, it does. So when you go get your teeth x-rayed from the dentist, you're taking a chance of getting brain cancer. Natural Society, April 10th. Greece. Simmons agrees to pay $353 million for bribing officials for government contracts. There is no mention of penalties for the officials who received the bribes. The bribes, in one form or another, include campaign contributions, is the norm in politics today. Fines are considered as a cost of doing business, and Simmons will be allowed to bid on new contracts, of course. Russian television, April 9th. Interesting. U.S. federally backed banks are prohibited by law from making speculative trades, but many traders are convinced that J.P. Morgan is doing exactly this as they move markets with large trades. The bank says it's only hedging its position. Regulators do not appear to be concerned. Bloomberg, April 9th. Terrible criminality. I'm telling you, we got criminal mentality going on in the world. Where criminals run everything instead of the other way around. Non-criminals run everything. UK, here we go. New global warming tax, called a carbon tax or breathing tax, will add 10% to home improvement and remodeling. Yes, cost. Home improvement and remodeling will all but grind to a halt. So much for Best Buy, or actually Home Depot and Lowe's. Daily Mail, April 8th. Over 110,000 active-duty U.S. military personnel with access to weapons are taking prescription drugs that are designed to alter mental states. Most of these were non-existent or prohibited just 10 years ago. Just like DU. They wouldn't dare use DU because they knew the dangers of depleted uranium would have on the environment. But now it's A-OK. Let the soldiers huff that up every time they shoot off a round, and that smoke blows back in their face with particles of DU in it. That's right. The connection between this fact and the recent upswing in violent behavior by military personnel should be obvious. LA Times, April 7th. Well, of course, you're going to put people in the field for years and years and years. I mean, what, 5-6 tours are going to go nuts. You know what I mean? Blood and guts daily. I mean, think about it. U.S. The Federal Reserve investigated itself regarding charges made by Ron Paul and many others that it had undue influence on the Watergate scandal and that it funded weapons for Saddam Hussein. Guess what? It found itself innocent. Of course they found themselves innocent. You think they're going to find themselves guilty if they're doing the investigation themselves? That's like any of these things that they're allowing the government to investigate itself. They're always going to say everything's A-okay, like the FDA investigating itself. The Food of Death Administration. It's okay. See? This stuff is okay. We say so. Oh, man. China. A surgeon and 4 others are arrested after giving an iPhone and iPod to a teen in exchange for one of his kidneys, which was sold on the black market. Ironically, the story includes a statement from the Chinese government condemning greed and commercialism as the cause of this crime, yet the government itself is guilty of approving involuntary organ harvesting from inmates in its prisons, and they get nothing in return except death. Yahoo, April 7th. That's right. Do you not understand yet? The corruption. Another article to keep. Japanese ambassador warns that if the containment tank collapses at Fukushima's reactor number 4, it is damaged but still standing, barely. It will cause all 6 reactors to shut down and expose thousands of spent fuel rods to the air, resulting in a global catastrophe of unprecedented magnitude. Another major quake or tsunami could bring that about. Akiro Masumura, April 7th. And it could. That tank's barely standing up. They say it's leaning already. It won't take much to knock that tank over full of some odd thousands of rods of spent fuel, and some of them are brand new rods they said they have in those tanks. And so as soon as they hit the air, it's right. It's called goodbye Northern Hemisphere. Man, it's just bad. This is really bad. U.S. Geological Survey reports that many earthquakes in the Midwest are man-made, but downplays the danger. Fracking. The quakes are caused by deep injections of wastewater into shell to facilitate oil and gas drilling, also known as fracking. Yahoo posted April 7th. Look, U.S. Geological Survey reports that many earthquakes in the Midwest. Oops, I just read that. Ha! That's what I don't like about this mouse. It keeps jumping my page up and down. See, U.S. government is spending money derived from offshore drilling fees to buy up private land within or near national forests. The goal, as set out in the UN's Agenda 21, is to eliminate all private property. This is what Agenda 21 is all about, in the wild areas. Yahoo, April 7th. Yes, just check this video out. They'll probably show you the map where they show all this red where you're not allowed to be. And it's like, 85% of the U.S. is going to be off limits to people under the Agenda 21. I say, let's get the UN out of the U.S. Man, this is just evil. These people have no say over our country, but yet they are, because our government that we put in there is allowing it. Which is wrong. That's why they should be fired. we should demand their resignations today. For everyone, it goes along with Agenda 21. Russia. Putin is reported to have said that Russia has electromagnetic weapons that affect the brain, alter thought patterns and modes, and can induce confusion, apathy, and even paralysis. This is likely true insomuch as it has been widely reported that both Russia and the U.S. have been working on these weapons for many years, but it's unlikely that Putin would officially disclose this. In the Lie article, April 7th. Yeah, Putin apparently has read Psychic Discoveries Behind the Iron Curtain, where psionic weapons were being developed back in the Cold War era. Apparently they're picking that back up again. U.S. The shooting death of Tyron Martin is being used by agitators, government agents, to promote race and class warfare. This is a case study of how agitators on both sides are distorting reality to divide America and lead them into violent confrontation. Infowars, April 10th. Remember I told you how Obama can stay in there? This is one way. He can do it with his government agents called the New Black Panthers. That's right. We know they're government agents. When they get out there and say kill Whitey and kill all white, blue-eyed, blonde-haired people, you know if they get away with saying that without being arrested for hate crime, that they work for the very government that would arrest them for such a statement. Just say if the Klan came out, or somebody, or the Nazis, came out and said that we're going to kill Blackie, you think they would not be arrested on the spot? That's when you know they're government officials, is when they can get away with saying such things. So remember that. Video. In this short commentary, Jerry Day will change your rosy view of wireless technology and new smart grid. It's time to stop being guinea pigs. YouTube, April 7th, and he's right. Stuff will radiate you. It spies on you. The smart grid is nothing but a spying, and your new appliances all link into it, so they know everything you use, and at the time you use it, everything's recorded. It's amazing. U.S. The analysis by economist William Black shows that the new Federal Jobs Act opens the door to fraud and actually will reduce jobs. It does. Common Dreams, April 5th. Rebel mercenary forces in Syria will be paid millions by U.S. and Western forces there. This is what is fueling civil war in that country. Russian television, April 3rd. And that's the headlines for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to leave a link to this newsletter in the description underneath the video. You'll be able to come back to it throughout the week until next week, next Friday, when I'll do my next one, and it will be updated throughout the week, so you'll be able to keep up on the headlines you may have missed. Until next time, this is Spellbinder saying, be good or be good at it, and good day. Have a wonderful weekend.